Code monkey, get up, get coffee. Code monkey, go to job. Code monkey, have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
What's new, Dino Dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to another episode of the Media Raptor Reviews. Let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the sequel to 2014's Godzilla, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Came out 2019, directed by Michael Dougherty. It would be fair to say I was pretty excited for this movie. I love Godzilla movies. I can probably count on one hand the amount of actually bad Godzilla movies there are. And I'm talking bad in the sense that I don't even get so bad as good enjoyment out of them. I haven't seen every single one, but I've seen a good chunk of them, and I love these movies. I have ever since I was a little kid. So yeah, if you remember when this came out 5 years ago now, I really loved it. I was going on about how it was such a great movie, but looking back on it, it does have some pretty noticeable flaws I'm not sure if I talked about, but I'm not here to talk about that here. I'm here to talk about the sequel to this. And as sequels go, this is the kind of sequel I hope every sequel will be. As in, fantastic, far superior to the first, and able to build on the last one's mistakes and become even stronger. And by build on the last one's mistakes and become stronger, I mean have nothing but kaiju fighting for pretty much the entire movie, and if you're complaining about that, then you're an idiot. I'm kind of showing my hand here, but this movie was great. I'm just going to say it right now. If you go into this movie looking for the plot or the characters, you're going to be disappointed. Even if you don't, you're still going to be disappointed, and I'll get to that in a minute. But if you go in looking for an awesome, fun action film with just monsters fighting each other into the ground, blowing stuff up, and some awesome effects, you're going to love this movie. I know I did. There were multiple times that I remember sitting in the theater going, are they actually going to do this? And they do. 90% of the time, they do the, are they actually going to do this? That'll make it even awesomer. Now let's talk about the writing, which is the movie's biggest weakness. The characters in this movie are some of the stupidest characters I've ever seen in any movie, period. The main female character makes Captain Hodo in The Last Jedi seem like one of the smartest people alive. She is one of the dumbest, most poorly written, useless, selfish, and just hazily hateable characters I've ever seen. They're trying to build her up, and there's going to become some kind of spoilers in here, but it's also pretty obvious when this word go what's going on. Like, they're trying to build her up as this sympathetic character that, you know, is only doing the things she does in this movie because, well, she's hurt. She's trying to cope with it. Honestly, it's not a good sign for your sympathetic character that when she, spoilers, finally dies, the entire theater begins cheering for her death. Yeah, I really don't even know how to explain her character without giving away massive spoilers, but it's not just her. Every character in this movie is so unbelievably stupid, save for like 3 of them. You have the main male character who actually is kind of the smartest, with at first he's the whole like, you know, we shouldn't try and help these monsters, we should just kill them, which is kind of a fair point to be honest. We have Dr. Serizawa back from this movie, which is also, I've realized, a great reference to Godzilla, or Gojira, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the original one. He is still the smartest character in the sense that he tries to find the path of least violence, that we can kind of all learn to live together and work together, even though he does eventually have to realize that isn't going to happen as much. His character arc throughout this movie is very well written and, well, partially because of the acting, very well acted, and it's just an emotional scene. Now, speaking of characters, you might be wondering, hang on, what happened to any of the characters from this movie, aside from Dr. Serizawa? Do any of them come back, like the main military dude or his wife? No. They're never mentioned, they never show up, and it's kind of for the best, because these were not very interesting characters. But yeah, there's also a lot of things when I'm sitting here questioning, even by monster movie standards, why are they doing this? Like this, for example. So, they're trying to build this device that'll let them kind of pacify these monsters. Okay, that's an interesting plot point. The main scientist has a 12-year-old kid. Okay, don't really see an issue with that. Godzilla movies have had kids in them before. If anything, it can kind of be a good way to raise the stakes, or maybe even add some sort of younger eyes for this new world for a younger audience. That makes sense. But why do they let a kid into, like, top-secret military bases? I understand her mother is a scientist, but why do they let her into, like, the most dangerous zones and never try and stop her? Furthermore, multiple times, why didn't they just shoot the bad guy when they had the chance? I'm not talking about G-Zilla, I'll get to that in a minute. But really, a lot of this movie could have been stopped if they had just went, okay, you know what? Boom, dead, the end. I know we wouldn't have a movie then, but it is really annoying when even I'm sitting here going, no, that doesn't make sense. And I'm the guy who's like, yeah, Sharknado, total logical sense. Those are smart choices. But in a Godzilla movie, I'm like, when are you gonna die? So yeah, the writing is pretty bad. However, the dialogue is also pretty good in some places. The characters in here have a lot more personality. I don't remember their names as much because I don't really say them that often, but they certainly do have more personality, at least, between each character, making them more distinct and recognizable, aside from Military Goon 1, Military Goon 2, Military Goon 3, and like I mentioned, Dr. Serizawa is still a very well-written and very, very good character. So, let's talk about the reason you're here, the monsters. On the one hand, I'm kind of disappointed because they do set up, they have Anguirus, the Mutos are back from the last movie, Ghidra, Mothra, Godzilla, Rodan, and a bunch of others. I think Biollante might have been one of them, but I don't remember the other ones. There's like a giant, I don't know all their names off the top of my head. And it's kind of implying they're all going to fight each other at once. That doesn't happen. We do get Godzilla versus Rodan versus Ghidra, and even Mothra versus Rodan and Ghidra. But as for the other monsters, they're more relegated to just, TV shots in the background. It's annoying, but it's also cool to see that, hey, we're gonna get future sequels, including Godzilla vs. King Kong, so that might come later. And the monsters in this are fantastic. The monsters all kind of have their own unique personality, which has been taken from the old Toho films, and is perfectly put into this movie. Ghidra is this unrelenting, uncaring force of nature that'll just kill without reason and cares for nothing more than destruction. Godzilla is kind of still a jerk in the sense that he'll destroy everything in his path, but he also knows Ghidra's gotta go. Mothra is actually sort of the most caring monster. Rodan's sort of an anti-hero, sort of. Like, all the monsters are great, and I'm just gonna jump over acting right to special effects. The special effects are amazing. These, yes, they look like giant monsters. It doesn't look like, oh wow, it looks so real, but the textures, the effects, all of it looks awesome. They took what they did with Godzilla 2014, and 5 years later, they did something even better with it. This movie looks gorgeous, and seeing it on the big screen was great. Now, a slight complaint I have is, if you remember this movie, 90% of it was set during the night, in the middle of a darkened city, surrounded by smoke. Now, the fights in here do take place, not during the day, it takes place during the night, but they are certainly well lit. Either due to actual lighting from, the lights the military has set up, or the fact that it's not, pitch blackout when the fights are happening. So, again, lighting is something they drastically improved, and the color is much nicer. It's not just this kind of murky brown and red color the entire time. Now there's a whole palette of colors, which looks great. Yeah, I'm gonna jump back to acting now. The acting is very solid. Aside from the guy who plays Dr. Serizawa, I don't really actually recognize any of these actors from anything else, but they all are very solid actors. And that's pretty much the best you can hope for. Sure, a few lines are kind of delivered awkwardly by some of the side characters or a few of the extras, but the acting does certainly get the emotional impact of this down. It's a very well-acted movie, and that surprised me, because you'd think for a Godzilla movie they might not try as much, but no, every actor brought their A game, or at least their B game to this movie, and it does help the movie kind of stand on all four legs the best it can. So what else can I talk about in this? Well, this might be kind of something you might not think about, but the camera work is very good in this movie. Too many action films these days just go cut. Like, they do like 8 cuts between each shot. Like, look at the Fast and Furious movies. They have a habit of, like, just splicing recording a thing with 20 cameras and constantly jumping back and forth between cameras just when a car's driving. In this movie, they made sure to have plenty of long takes and sweeping camera shots and almost like a drone sort of flying around the monsters as they fight. Yes, there are plenty of cuts, but it doesn't feel like it's sporadic or random. It feels just awesome. And as for the monster fights, if you thought what happened in this movie was awesome with Godzilla vs. the Mutos, they outdo themselves. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, how are they going to be able to outdo themselves in what happened last time? And they totally do, and it looks awesome. So let's talk about the music. That's the other main thing I wanted to talk about. Kind of a spoiler here, but I have to mention this because I had the biggest grin on my face when this happened. They remade the original Godzilla theme. The classic 1954 score of Godzilla's impending destruction is remade with a full orchestra, and it is amazing. I absolutely loved it, and it definitely set the mood they were going for. Also, Bear McCree, the guy who made the Walking Dead theme, has a Godzilla rap song in here, and it is honestly pretty awesome. You wouldn't think Godzilla and rap would go together, but this movie made it work. It's like a rock rap song, and it's really darn catchy. So at the end of the day, can I recommend Godzilla King of the Monsters? Totally. If you guys are fans of Godzilla movies, you're gonna love this. If you like just monster movies, you're gonna love this. I do have to warn you, the humans do really take a bit away from this movie because of how ferociously stupid they are. I mean, give credit to the military guys, while they do try shooting at the Mutos and stuff like that, which admittedly is kind of a dumb idea, because, like, you know, they're, like, 300-foot tall monsters. I'm pretty sure an assault rifle will do a lot to hurt that. At least they had reason and logic behind what they were doing and not, hey, this is a stupid idea, I'm gonna do it anyways because I'm an idiot who deserves to die. That's pretty much every character in this movie, to be honest. And I feel like that's really mean, but you do not understand how stupid these characters are, and I don't want to go into the spoilers because, well, the movie's actually really entertaining. In the end, I'm giving it 3.5 Raptor Claws out of 4 for quality, 4 out of 4 Raptor Claws for entertainment. So in the end, it's kind of stuck between 3.5 Raptor Claws and 4 Raptor Claws. You watch the movie and make your own decision, and then tell me down in the comments. Anyhow, Dino Dudes, that's all the time I got for this video, for this episode of the Media Raptor Reviews. So until next time, this has been the Media Raptor, saying keep cool, long live the king, and I'll see all you Dino Dudes around. Later.